wants to tame me. You can't catch me on the run, cause I'm gone, yeah. I blaze trails, set fire to what's behind me. No, I'm never looking back, I'm on the run. I could only ever be what I'm made to be. Feels good when I'm living on the edge. Watch me now, roll like thunder, gonna shake the ground. Can't stop me now, I don't give up and I won't back down. I'm a force of nature, can't be contained. I got lightning running all through my veins. Watch me now, watch me now.
Hi, my name is Wyatt Milam, and I'm from Canova, West Virginia. When I'm back home in Canova, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that golden boot pride at Parmar. There are literally hundreds of Parmar stores in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and even more on the way. Download the Parmar app to save even more. And whether it's food, gas, groceries, or whatever, we have you covered at Parmar. West Virginia proud and ready to serve you.
And if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
All right. Oh, hello, Mountaineers, and welcome to the WolfMan's Call. I'm the Wolfman, Dale Wolfley. I just wanted to come out here and tell you that tonight we've had a cancellation, and that means that I don't have anybody coming on to talk to you. And that's really important because what I always try to do is I want to have somebody of substance for a goal of what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. And with the late cancellation, I don't have it for you this week, but I do have some good news, and that is that Daryl Talley's going to be coming on. We're going to talk about kicking off his campaign for the Hall of Fame, not for college. We're talking about for the NFL. DT, Daryl Talley. I could tell you some stories about him, and I'm sure we're going to get into some. And actually, I got stories on DT for myself, from my brother Ronnie, from Joe's, all those guys that have played with DT. Coach Nalen up there, he was telling us some dropping Daryl Talley stories. That was good stuff. So watch out for the next Wolfman's Call. We hope that it's going to be with DT. Late cancellation tonight, but, you got me. I don't know. I kind of feel like talking tonight. This is a one night that usually, I don't like to go ahead and just keep rambling on and talking, but I'll ramble on and talk. I'll go ahead and talk. And we've got some other special announcements, being that let me sure I get this right, SOWV, Special Olympics, West Virginia. That's right. Team Wolfman is returning, and we are returning with a vengeance. Now, I don't know the numbers. I'm having it looked at, but Team Wolfman, we are going ahead, and we're going to go ahead and break and share any records that possibly we had before. There's by far no team in the last decade that has raised more money for Special Olympics West Virginia by dunking themselves in the cold, cold cheat lake than, of course, Team Wolfman. And that's not just me. I am the very least of the team. We have a lot of people here. Let me get you a video here of one that I like. Let me find it. We'll go right there. We can't go with that one right there. Yeah, we'll go with this video here. We'll go to this and right there. There we go. And let's check this out. Wow, I don't like that. Let's go back to this size here. And you can see here, this is me doing a major belly flop. A major belly flop. And you can go ahead and you can donate to the GoFundMe page that's on my link on Facebook. Go to my link at Facebook, Dale Wolfley. There's a GoFundMe page, and we'll get this started off right. The plunge is February 25th. Special Olympics, West Virginia, February 25th. Usually it's around 12 or 1 o'clock. But I know this. West Virginia, man, you support Special Olympics really well. And when I think about Wendy there, that she is so full of love that she is the main connector for Special Olympics West Virginia. I'm telling you what, the whole day is absolutely fantastic. It's such a worthy cause. And with that, a happy new year to everybody. I hope your new year has kicked off well. And if you got anything you want to talk about, come on out and text me here, go on to the social media, whatever you got to do, because I'm going to be looking at messages. I'll answer whatever you want. You come, give me anything you want to talk about, and if I don't want to talk about it, I won't. I will not. But again, I have really some big announcements. We got some big things coming here in this winter time for WVU, for some other projects that we have. And, we started this Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends, and with Daryl Peru and Tim Kearney, and we've had Lawrence Pollard on there. And tomorrow, for the first time, will be Jared West coming on. It's always 2 hours before the games, and they're right on. I am just the host. I am not a legend for the hardcourt. We all know that, but I am the host, and I will give you the most for what they got to offer and what they have to teach, because it's really, really special. And they break it down like nobody. They break it down like players. It's the guys you know, it's the guys you watched, and it's the guys you trust. I mean, that's just basically it. So these guys played the game. They know the game. You come out there, you listen to Daryl Peru out there. He's a Hall of Famer for WVU, but my gosh, he's also been a coach there at Georgetown, and he's coached numerous places, and he has so much to offer. So if you're a youngin', you want to learn about the game, if you're a coach, you better be listening to DP and Tim Kearney out there. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a guy that's gone through so much and has so much done success in his life, and comes back and talks about WVU basketball with a passion. The guy's totally successful in the outside world, and he wants to come back here and talk to Mountaineer Nation. That's what we have. It's Mountaineer Nation, man, and it's the guys. So we had Lawrence Pollard on. We had we're having Jared West tomorrow. We just had Damian Owens on, man. Damian Owens. Do you know that he was in 6 categories when retired in the top 10? Only Mountaineer player ever to do so. That's right, Damian Owens. He was in the top 10, rebounds, blocks, steals, assists, and shots made. Now, that was when he retired. I don't know what it is now, but we went ahead and we gave him all that pump and pomp, and so well deserved. But is there anything that you guys got a question for me? Because I just feel like talking, and it's okay. It's okay. Ask me what you want to ask me. I talk about football. Want to talk about basketball. Want to talk about the world. Want to talk about any kind of thing you want to talk about. Want to talk about cigars. Who doesn't like a good cigar? Now, honestly, we got Artist and Grange Company, which is switched to hemp, just a dip. No tobacco, no nicotine. But once in a while, I make a special little cigar thing. So, anybody there wants to get on, wants to ask a question, now's your time to do so. The WolfMan's Call, we had a cancellation tonight, but we had to go ahead and go on and put it on. And it's Parmar Stores, Artist and Grange Company, the WolfMan's Call. Next time we're going to have Daryl Talley, I believe, and we're going to have some really good people on. But I just don't want to stick anybody out there with nothing to do, nothing to tell you. I just got to interview. I want someone that's going to give you a purpose to listen, because that's what the WolfMan's Call is all about, and that's the quality that I'm trying to give somebody that's making some moves, that's doing some shaking, moving and shaking the world that we're in right here, Mountaineer Nation. And talk to me about what you think about the transfers, man. I'll tell you what time of day it is with that, because what I find out is really amazing is I find so many people that are out there tweeting, and they mean good, I think. But what they're doing is they're tweeting out there and saying, hey, the sun's, the sky's not falling, the sun is bright. And you're telling me things like, just because a player chooses a non-Power 5 team, that there's nothing wrong with that. or that they're going to G5 or whatever their decisions are. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with the program. I'm saying there's a perception of the program and the perception of what's going on. And so basically what I'm saying is don't go ahead and piss down my back and then tell me it's raining. Okay, because if you're going to a G5 school or Power 5 school, there's something there that's got to get better. And the only thing I talked about with West Virginia, I'm not bringing this up about West Virginia, I'm seeing this in a lot of schools. A lot of schools. I have no idea what's going on. If anybody tells you they know what's going on with this transfer portal, don't believe them, man. Don't believe it. This is all trial and error. Trial and error. And of course, people are going to jump on the bandwagon of teams that are hot, and they're going to jump off of teams that are not. So you can expect that to happen. And if that's the case, then so be it. But remember this. But I always say the grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. If you're in a place that you're not supposed to be at, maybe you're playing at too high of a level. Or if you're at a place that it's not high enough for you. What happens if you're back, behind a couple players? There are different reasons for leaving. But I will say this: when you leave, not many teams have gone up. Jordan Jefferson that was a tough loss. I'm not going to lie. I was really disappointed in him. And when I look at some of the offensive linemen, like Jordan White or Chris Mayo, and not that they were world beaters, but I know when you invest in an offensive lineman for 3 years, that means Matt Moore, the offensive line coach, going in there and talking to guys and getting to make the right calls, getting them to be strong enough. Mike Joseph and his strength staff coming in. There are so many things that are involved. And when a player just leaves, it hurts when any player leaves, and especially any player playing on the field and producing for you. But when an offensive lineman, or let's say Jordan Jefferson, now I know he's a fine young man, and he's signed with LSU, and things are looking good for him down there. Hopefully he does well. I wish him all well. You want to talk about it? Jalen Bridges returning tomorrow night back to the Coliseum for the first time, I believe, since he's left and gone to Baylor. Jalen Bridges, talking about Mountaineer hardcourt legends. We'll be talking about that 5 o'clock tomorrow on all of our social media channels. Twitter at Wolfley64, which you're watching that now. If you're watching on Facebook, it's at Dale Wolfley. It's on all the other ones that we share. We probably have about 70 shares throughout for the show. And then, of course, you get on YouTube and it's Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. We just started that baby off, so that sucker's young. But what I'm saying is this. Jalen Bridges returned. I hope Mountaineer Nation, treats Jalen well. I think he's a fine young lad. I think he made a choice. It's too bad that he just lives 20 minutes down the road. He had to go to Waco, Texas to get happy. I have no idea why he left. Everybody left last year. And, it's just the way things are going. And again, it's trial and error. No one really understands what's going on in this whole process. But I think that he earned a varsity letter at WVU. And I think he should be treated with respect. So rip on him in a good, competitive way, but have class. Have some class on the young man. He's a good man. He's a good family. Lots of family members in the area too that have support WVU a lot, and they have for years, and they will continue so. So just remember that with Jalen Bridges. And anybody out there that wants to ask a question, anyone at all. The one night I'm up here saying, listen, give me a question, because we had a cancellation for the WolfMan's call. I'll talk about it. Football, transfers, what you think of power schemes, whatever it is, whatever you want to know. Let me know what you want to talk about, or you got to just leave me up here hanging. Once again, let's talk about Special Olympics, West Virginia. And being with Special Olympics West Virginia, you can go to the GoFundMe page. You see on my Facebook page there at Dale Wolfley. And you can go ahead and donate if you want. Hey, $1 works. $2 works. I don't care. We're not here trying to say you have to, donate any large numbers. Whatever you can to help. I know it's tough all around. Trust me, I feel it all the same, just as much as anybody else. But there's no doubt the kids and the grown-ups. The grown-ups too. We got to remember that Special Olympics is about not just the kids, but it's also about a lot of grown-ups that don't get to compete. And when you're an athlete and you're competing, there's a special feeling. And for all of you athletes out there, know what it's like to compete. Well, this is their opportunity to feel that special feeling, that special thing of accomplishment. Yeah. You know what? You see me out there doing a belly flop off the dock, I'll run through a wall for those kids to be able to enjoy themselves and to be able to compete. We had a young lad went ahead and wrote me an email and told me about how great it was that he went to Florida to compete in the Nationals, and he represented in the Special Olympics nationally. He represented West Virginia, and he won the gold medal. You know, I'm just like, hey man, all right, champion, that's a good job. He said he trains hard and he works hard, and what a satisfaction that was for me to know that I had a little bit of that. So I wanted you to just go ahead if you can. If you can, donate to GoFundMe. If you can't do it, then come out and support. Join the Special Olympics, West Virginia. Help support. You can be a supporter and not give any money. Does anybody have any questions? All right, well, there's Patsy there after 15 minutes. Somebody's asking a question. You got a question, Patsy, or you just saying hi? You can go ahead. If you got a question for me, give it to me, because this is the WolfMan's Call. It is totally free flow, and because of a cancellation, I'm out here and getting the show done. So give it to me. What do you want to talk about there, Patsy? Anything you want to talk about? I don't see nothing coming from Patsy. So let's talk about the transfer portals. What have you seen so far that you like? What are you concerned about? What are your concerns? Do you think that because school started that the transfer portals will start slowing down with kids committing? I don't think so. I think that, they're going to be missing a semester of school. I think you can't help that. After a week, I think we're still in the process. So anyone that were assigned this week would still be able to jump into school. So you'll probably see a lot of signees here towards the end of the week. And then if you look at it, and probably we're going to have some people coming after spring ball in that May, at the end of May there, jumping in. I wouldn't doubt it. Patsy says she's enjoying listening to me doing these shows. I don't think you're enjoying this one though, Patsy. You got to give me a question now. All right. Well, anybody else? I thank you for that, Patsy, and anybody else that is interested in any type of question. I got coffee here. I'll discuss. I'm laughing too. If you were sitting in my chair right now, you'd be laughing as well, knowing that you're sitting here on live for everybody. Hey, but hey Patsy, are you watching the Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends pregame? We do have Daryl Peru, Tim Kearney, and all the guests that we've had with Lawrence Pollard. We had Damian Owens on it. I know you've been there. Have you seen that? Those are some pretty good breakdowns. And there's nobody else. Well, there's KB. Cal, brother, where you at, buddy? Give me a question, man. Break it down. And make it clean. Oh, the WolfMan's Call is on a fire tonight. Talking about Arson Grange Company. Switch to hemp, just a dip. Hey, do you know you're okay? Patsy Atkins is in Stafford, Virginia. I'll even put that up there for you. We'll show. There you are, watching from Stafford, Virginia. That's excellent. Appreciate that. Nobody even knew I was coming on tonight because we had the changeup. So, but the changeup is going to be really big because it's going to be the changeup. It's going to be Darryl Taylor, Hall of Fame NFL. Oh, Kyle, all right. Who should WVU target as offensive coordinator in your opinion? And who would be dream hire? Oh, dream hire. Oh, you're going down serious now. Offensive coordinator, it's too bad because I think we lost a couple that I would have had. I still think Personally, I think Neil Brown's going to call the plays. I think he's saying this is my show, and he's saying if things don't go well, it's going to be on me. I'm going to call the plays the way I want to. Shane Lyons is gone. I think that was the biggest proponent to him having someone call the plays. It really did not work out with Graham Harrell. And if you look at this now, I'll be honest with you here. Graham Harrell, when he got hired, everybody was like, "Hey man, this guy's great. He's top 25." And I'm going to get to your question, KB. But he's top 25 in yards. Well, that's the air raid. The air raid, they can throw yards all over the place. They can throw the ball yards. But it's when you get down to the red zone is when it counts. And that's where the air raid hurts. And trust me, I like the air raid and special proponents of it. But there's got to be a combination. Dana Holgorsen did the best job he ever did of coaching when he combined a power running game with Skyler Howard. And they went 10-2 in the Big 12. And I know the Big 12 was a little down that year, but Skyler Howard 10-2, and they went ahead and they combined it and used principles of the air raid and also the power running game and using the quarterback involved in that running game. So you're using all 11. And so I thought that was a great combination. So I thought you could do that. I thought Cliff Kingsbury was going to try to do that out there with Kyler Murray in Arizona. See, now we're really getting into it. And when you think about OC that I would tell you, you know what, a dream OC for me would be to bring back, and he can't just because he passed away, would be Mike Jacobs, who was 211 in all seasons at WVU. He was my mentor. Unbelievable. But I will say that for my head, I would have loved to brought back Travis Trickett. He just got hired at Coastal Carolina. He was at USF. He was tight ends coach here at West Virginia. And, honestly, I don't think that was a good mix for him. If you don't love the Tricketts, if you don't love the Trickett family and the West Virginia connection, there's something wrong with you. You got Chance Trickett, who's in charge with player development with the NFL and scouting and all that. Then you got Travis, who's the OC there at Coastal Carolina. And then you got Clint, of course, there at Marshall. And I want to tell you, you hire any of them, and then you got a Pops down there with Rich Rod at Jacksonville State. So the old Marine there, man, he's still wearing his cowboy boots, still mean, but I hear he's pretty relaxed at the same time. So he's a good trick, and he's making a lot of good people or players down there. And in fact, did you know that the father, Trick, he is right now currently the active coach with the most players into the NFL. Very true. Offensive lineman we're talking about. That's Rick Trickett right there. And everybody who's WVU knows who Rick Trickett is. But, I think about that and, who would my offensive coordinator be? I really would love a guy that will do this. This is what I want, okay, for an offensive coordinator. I want an offensive coordinator that knows how to use all 11 players on the offense. Okay, easy start, right? Yeah, okay, well, if I got you. I want an offensive coordinator that's got to use the running game, the power running game. I want an offensive coordinator that's going to use special things of RPO, okay? The run-pass option, I want to be able to use that. I want the power running game. I want to use the quarterback in the running game as well. I want him not to just be elusive in the pocket and move around and keep plays going with legs. I want to see plays. I want to see a little bit of the option game in that right there, in there, because a little bit of the option game. I talked to Coach Nealon about this last week about how we did that. I even showed it in a few times. The option play is just a couple of plays, but it takes the defense. They have to do assignment football. The Kansas Jayhawks did it. And what did they do to us? Because we didn't understand the option. Our players didn't know how to do the assignments at the time. And that's why they kept ripping us. There's at least 2 or 3 third downs and longs where they just did option, man. Jalen Daniels, he's a special athlete. Reminded me a little bit of Major Harris right there, because that's what can happen with a running quarterback. You include the option, and then you include the pass off the option. And then you're just like, all of a sudden, they got a misdirection going on with the option. You got a misdirection going on. You got option, assignment football, and then you have a pass off of that. And holy cow! And then when we come with the power at you, we're coming straight at you. You're confused as to what's going on. And that's what happened to our defense. Man, I tell you what, that OC at Kansas, yeah, that's pretty good. So I think My OC would have been Mike Jacobs, but unfortunately he has passed away. But that guy really included and added a lot of things to it. And I want to see the run game be as effective as the passing game. But if you don't use a tight end, if you don't understand that tight end down the seam is one of the easiest plays to hit on, I want to see a pop pack. All it is just a fake run and then a pop to the tight end. All he does is commit for a second and a half. And then he takes off after the linebackers have all come up. And it's in the pocket between the linebackers coming up and the safeties there. So you got a little hole there. That's where the pop pass is. And sometimes it's free because sometimes teams just forget about the tight end because you got all these great receivers and speedsters running around or backs out of there. And if you could go ahead and use a running back and use a flare out there or use a screen with the receivers or use a screen with a tight end. How about a tight end screen? How about a wide receiver screen? How about a running back screen? Include all of that. But again, it's not just, I want this play or I want that play. I want to see the gun. I don't want to see 4th and inches in the gun. I don't want to see it. I don't mind 3rd and 1 in the gun. Sure, if you want to do that. But you know what I want to see also? I want to see the pistol look. You know what the pistol is? The pistol is the quarterback. It's good to snap, and the running back's 2.5 yards behind him, 2.5 to 3 yards. And it's kind of the same look you get when you're under the center, but now you're actually in the gun. So that's why they call it the pistol, right? But when you go ahead and you put all that together and you mix and match, because when you just do one thing, you better be really, really, really good at it, or they're going to figure you out. Now, you don't have to do a lot of things, but you got to have a minimal number of things that you do well. And what I like to do is I like to have base plays, but I want to dress it up with formations. I have a power running game. I want an option running game. I want a power passing game. I want an option passing game. And then, of course, I want the drop back as well and more forte of the air raid blitz, RPOs, all that. Do the RPOs. I mean, if you can't go ahead and use the RPO when you have the 3 yards to move an offensive lineman up the field to engage, get those backers to engage. I mean, they may call you 1 time out of 10 or 1 time out of 15. I'm going to say I'm going to take that chance. And yeah, that will suck when we get called the 1 time. But the other times, I'm probably going to get away with it because they can't call all the time and they don't call it all the time. And that's the reality of it. So let's see. What does Patsy say here? You need to win. You need both to win games. Yes, you do. I agree with you. You know, that's pretty good. See, you have been paying attention, man. You have been paying attention, Patsy, and you know. And what do we got here? Coach Dunlap on a podcast. He's got nothing but time. And you won't even have to talk. He'll talk the whole show. That's right. Steve Dunlap. Let me tell you something. Steve Dunlap recruited me to West Virginia. Coach Dunlap. In fact, back when my signing day was, we actually had a signing day period where the coaches could visit you at that time. That's back in the old days. They can't do it now because there's a dead period. But so he came and he actually was at the house the day of signing day. And of course, there was a storm in Buffalo, and it snowed and snowed and snowed. And because it's a true story now, Coach Dunlap had a sleepover at our house. And so my mom gave him her bedroom, and she went to sleep with my sisters. And up there is in Buffalo, we had a wood-burning stove. And every place is super warm in the wood-burning stove, except for the very top where my mom's bedroom was. And he was there, and he stayed overnight, and he was freezing. He had a sports coat on, his tie. He never even changed. And he had the covers over him. He's bundled up like a little wuss. He wasn't a tough linebacker back then. He was a pretty boy when he was the recruiter. So I would love to have him on. So I think we filled up our time. Anyone else got any questions? Kyle, did I answer your question? Even though my dream hire was a guy that passed away. So Mike Jacobs, I love it. That was my mentor. He was the best. That's why we were 11-0 twice, baby. Twice 11-0 in that time period, because Mike Jacobs was an incredible offensive coordinator. He had an incredible staff that he worked with, and Coach Allen was it all. All did the right thing. All right. You have a good night too there, buddy, and I'm going to call us off. So, that is the Wolfman's Call this week. Sorry about the cancellation. Special Olympics, West Virginia. Patsy, thanks for coming and getting involved. Tomorrow night we got Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. We got Jared West, Tim Kearney. We got Daryl Prue. Oh, I'll tell you, so good they are. So good at breaking stuff down. And then, of course, we're going to have the Three Wolves of Football. Comes out Thursday mornings by two brothers. Craig Wolfley, Steelers radio guy, and Ron Wolfley, he's the Cardinals radio guy. Both out of the playoffs this week, so it'll be interesting what they have to say. But the Bills are in, baby. The Bills are in. So Special Olympics, West Virginia, Three Wolves of Football. We're going to have Daryl Taylor in the next Wolfman's Call, breaking it down. And then, of course, Hardcore Legends tomorrow night. And then the next game will be whatever it is, Saturday. So let's get it going, man. Let's go, baby. We'll see you later. That's it for Wolfman's Call.